if it's not there where you would like to see everybody there, it hurts. You know, it's sort of like you would be tempted to why don't you do it? But you hold it back, and then because you do this inner gesture, that has a power release. You know, it releases certain power that jumps the spark without words.
Miha Pogac, you had every participant, every single participant on your lips, you had their ears, you had their brain. I mean, you had a fantastic performance, getting us into the architecture of music and explaining what we can learn for leadership. You decomposed a genius, Bach, with some pieces, and began to explain what sort of architecture we can find in the music, in the Bach music, that would suggest thoughts for leadership. Yeah. And you are a great chart painter. And I like to go to this chart where you start with a noise and you end up with a big picture. Yeah. Can you
I will explain that too. I just want to first once more take up the concept of decomposition. Perhaps that is not so precise. I would rather say I help participants to focus on phenomena arising. And it ends with this. Yam, pa. Wow. What kind of feelings are being created through those gestures? This is what I try to sort of bring up in detail with participants. And because we do that in steps, by the time we come to an end and then I have performance, suddenly the performance is listened to in a very different ear, with different ears. Now, speaking about this progression, I was just trying to say that in our everyday listening, we are not very active. We are passive. We react in our listening. About noise is just my concern that the world is very full of machine noise, artificial noise. So in the gentle music doesn't have much chance in that environment. But what I want to say about this level of listening, I call reacting. This is a passive way of listening. We too often take music as a background, lovely tinted feeling while you perform other acts. And that is something that, of course, everybody can do. It's just, don't call it listening. The listening only begins when you rise above this reactive attitude and you actually make a jump into the musical process, such kind of jump where you decide not to constantly come back to yourself, but you are in it, and that you permit that it forms you. Yeah. So you are in the process, and that sort of takes you on as a river and forms you with its wonderful phenomena. And if that can be still exceeded, or the bar line can still be pushed one level higher, then I would say this, which is full of feelings and experience, becomes at the same time perception. So you still are fully involved, but somewhere you are a cool observer while you are involved. And that is the kind of state of mind that a responsible performer must attain, because you must be fully involved or you are not authentic. At the same time, you have to be somebody who is within, fully on guard and guiding the whole process. And that is the one who also reaches out to beginning and the end of the masterpiece when you perform. So you really are embracing the totality while you are fully concentrated into detail. Yeah. So this is the kind of leadership, state of leadership, where you do not just enjoy music and you're not just very good at detail and technicality and so on, but you actually know how to relate all the parts to one greater, bigger totality. And therefore, as a leader in organization, you see a product or project from the beginning to an end, or maybe even the company from the beginning to an end.
What we're discussing here at our school is that leadership actually is to get into the complexity of the world, from in all dimensions, being able to analyze this complexity and write strategies. So you actually also talked from the view of the conductor, how to see, to organize the music and bring it together.
That's right.
Onto the highest chord possible.
This is a very wonderful parallel, and I think a great opportunity that has not been yet really utilized and discovered, namely how much one can learn as non-musician, simply as somebody who appreciates music, but if you take this next step and go through it with help of a professional musician to discover step by step all the complexity of unfolding a masterpiece with all its necessity to go through a crisis and to go through turning points in order to rise above into the next level. And these are all the things that we as leaders in the organization experience as difficult dilemmas, and music gives us very refined solutions in its own domain. And that is practical, because you see, if you give instructions, or if you give ready-made solutions to your people as a leader, so that doesn't work, because nobody wants to take something that is already chewed on. But if you take somebody on a detour and you go through the masterpiece, or it can be done with painting as well, it can be done with drama, with all forms of art. If you go through that complexity of artistic unfolding and composition and development and you discover on a very high level something that is solved, what you on your level, wherever you are struggling in your company, don't know how to continue. So it gives you, like, it creates a new type of perception for you as a leader, and that is very valuable.
Well, leading an organization in this changing, demanding environment, we always look for having, the shortest distance to go from A to B. And we are not very happy when we have to make a detour. But making a detour is part of your advice.
Oh, that's what music does all the time. Because music always oscillates between concentrating and expanding, and then concentrating and expanding. If you only concentrate, it is like if company only grows all the time. Eventually, everybody is burned out. So it's this concentrating that has to be followed by expanding and taking on the fresh energy, if you want, fresh insights. You meet new people.
Let's take another thought of yours, now or never. Can you talk a little bit more about it?
Now or never. This is situations which are more known from very highly critical moments of human life, like in wartime or in the time of natural disasters. Or it is something that, strangely enough, we have access to this power to know it's now or never. But usually we deny it. In a more normal situation of life, we sort of try to think it's not there. It's a form of incredible power when everything is concentrated in the moment, and if I don't do it now, everything is lost. So it's this kind of life and death situation. And it's strange that in performance, when you are really a great in a situation where it all depends on this little point, when you come to the pinnacle of performance, it's the most important moment in a performance, that if this one will come across the way you really want to do it, everything else will have the right light. So then when you arrive to that moment, then you have this now or never, and it's very strange. You're another person at that moment. It's
If you look at this chart, it almost looks like looking in the world of flowers, of plants. Why? Can you relate it to the piece you played?
This is great excitement let's say, research or discovery that I have been upon for some time. Namely, it came out of endeavor to always search for the four elements in music as we know them in the nature, the element of earth, of water, of air, and fire. That these four elements. The Chinese also have the wood. No? They have five. But the quality of these conditions can be beautifully heard in the musical text all the time if you are attentive to it.
Yeah.
So I'm always looking for the progressions in the music to notice how the texture is changing, because it's always fluent, it always flows, the music, yet it is changing. And then you are watching, where is the threshold, where is the change? How did it occur that suddenly it is airy and before it was flowing like a water? Now it has airy quality. And now where has been the warmth in all this process? So in this way of observing musical process in terms of elements, of course, then you come to the next level, observing the same thing. You see then world of the minerals and plants and animals and human world. You have again progression. And if you then look at the plants themselves, you can see the same progressions. You have roots, you have leaves, you have flower, and you have fruit, you have seeds. So you have again this, as Goethe describes, metamorphosis of plant. And again, you can hear that in the musical process as well. I was recently doing something like that with the symphony orchestra when I had European Union environment ministers sitting in the orchestra, as you have experienced as well. And I showed them how you can hear in the Beethoven Violin Concerto, there's a particular section where you go really from the roots to the leaves, to the flowers, and then to the fruit, incredible power, and then the seeds. So, and if you go through this, you discover that world is one. That if music is there as a masterful composition, it arises out of the elements of nature, except it is individualized because it goes through genius composer. So you can see how there is no division. The art is not something just by chance or voluntary. Art is something that truly evolves the world further. And what can I say? It is a awesome discovery that art is something almost, one could say, where the nature stops, art continues. It is really good as aesthetics when you say that art starts, takes off when the nature stops, because nature returns in cycles all the time, always in cycles, and cannot break through this cycle. And artist takes all these elements and they bloom and develop further. So in this way we are part of nature, we are completely engulfed, and we are nature outside, inside. It's all nature, except art makes us truly, or helps us become more human.
Miha, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
And helping us to get more insights into
I thank you just as well, because you know all learning occurs on action, at least for me, for definitely. So the opportunity to work with your great group and to be able to exchange ideas with you, this is so wonderful, because I learned in the process just as well, so it really goes both ways. So thank you very much.
Well, we hope to have you back for class 3, which will be actually the Keith Reinhardt class, who will be the godfather of class 3, starting in November.
Very nice. You need to get a great piano for this, because next time I will come with pianist.